I'm just wondering what he's going to come up with.
I think he'd better get that black down the next time he does Alex Higgins, otherwise he'll sue him.
Well, he could do, yes.
Eddie, getting back to this match between Steve Davis and Doug Mountjoy, it's a fascinating match because really when it started yesterday, it really began to look as if Steve Davis was just going to power his way through and Doug was never going to get in touch, didn't it?
Yes, it did look that way, but from the experience that I've had now, David, I didn't really expect it to, but I was beginning to wonder when it was going to stop. It's a tremendous lead to get off to because the finals of the World Championship now are not as long as they used to be. We used to play the final over 73 frames. But so a 6-frame lead is a very big lead, and of course I think it could still go against Doug. He got off to too slow a start. And I think what's happening in the other sessions as well, Steve Davis walks in every session and can settle straight down and start cueing absolutely beautifully, play right at his top, and that's going to take some beating because he's winning 1 and 2 frames first as soon as they start playing all the time. And what Doug needs to be doing is the same thing, but he can't get in there early.
Is this, do you think, because Steve Davis really believes that he's going to win, doesn't have much doubt about it, really believes he's going to be champion of the world, whereas Doug, having had such a bad run in just the World Championship before, he's won everything else, but he's got a bogey here at Sheffield. Now he's actually there. Do you think he's got the doubts in his mind?
Well, I think Doug's playing perhaps a little more cautious than he should be. I'm not sure that that's his game, the safety play, but at the same time, with Steve in full flow like he is and starting off like he does, I don't see that there's much else that Doug can do. What has been happening as well, I think of the 2 players up to date, and I've seen nearly all the frames, Steve is taking his opportunities and Doug isn't. In fact, Doug has missed a lot of pots that he should have and would normally make.
Because he's a brilliant potter and a very quick potter, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and I think he's under a bit of pressure. I think the last thing that he wanted to do was get off to a bad start, and I think he was a little bit tight to start with. But there's no doubt about Doug. He knows how to play from behind, and what I'm waiting to see now is what's going to happen if Doug can draw level. Because although Steve is full of confidence, and I certainly hope he stays that way, because he's a lovely player to watch when he's really going. I'm waiting to see what happens now because Cliff Thorburn did put some pressure on Steve and he didn't look very good at all.
No, he didn't. He practically cracked. I mean,
yes,
he went, I think it was an hour without potting a ball. He was looking all over the place, looking for inspiration.
Yes.
And he aged 10 years, I think. It was when he went in 2 frames behind against Cliff Thorburn.
Yes, the amazing thing was, again, David, that he came back like he did. So, you know, he's really got it, Steve. I think that we're still in for a good final. A 2-frame lead really is only 1 frame. Had Doug perhaps won one of the frames he should have won, they'd be level now.
And there were a couple yesterday that Doug should have got, really. And the luck went with Steve as well. Not taking anything away from his play, but when the luck goes with you as well last night.
Yes, well, Steve seems to be one of those players. I'm yet to see the luck go against Steve. I mean, everything that he does is magic. At times, I've seen him play 4, 5, 6 frames on the trot. And even when he makes a mistake, he seems to come out on top. So Doug needs a run of the ball. He needs to take his chances when they come, and I still think that he can make a real fight of this final.
Interesting point that John Spencer made yesterday, and with your experience of 2 World Finals, John said that when Doug was 6-0 down, all the pressure had gone off Doug and it was then on Steve. Do you agree with that?
To a certain extent, that could happen, yes. This pressure is going to come on Steve as well when it's time to win that last frame. It always does, and it can happen to you when you've got 8, 9, 10 frames lead.
Okay, Eddie.
You've got to get that last frame.
That's it, the last frame, and the next frame is going to be very vital indeed. Anyway, the players, as we said, on a break now, no play happening here. We'll be back here on BBC Two at 5 o'clock, and of course there's a grandstand this afternoon on BBC One when you can keep in touch with the play. But for the final session of this World Championship at 5 o'clock. And we're going to close this morning, in fact, with something that some of our younger viewers might have missed during our late programmes. It's a little bit of fun, and we think they'll know all about it because from the Eurovision Song Contest, Bucks Fizz, helping you and helping us to making our minds up. See you at 5 o'clock. welcome here backstage to the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield for the moment we've waited for 13 and a half days. The last stage of the 1981 Embassy Professional Snooker Championship of the World. Steve Davis versus Doug Mountjoy. A final that has fluctuated. It started like a runaway for Steve Davis. Suddenly, Doug Mountjoy came back, made himself the hero. At the moment, the score stands at Steve Davis 14, Doug Mountjoy 12. There are 9 frames left in tonight's session, and with the winner needing 18, Steve Davis needs 4 to become the professional champion of the world. But it's by no means as simple as that, because Doug Mountjoy has played superb snooker in the previous sessions. Remember, he had a high break of 1-2-9. He's come back superbly. I think in many people's eyes, he's become the hero of this and left Steve Davis with an awful lot to do. Well, outside in the amphitheatre, out there in the arena, the public already in. It's absolutely packed to the seams. A few people just waiting still to come in. Nearly 1,000 people in this home of world snooker, the one that's become so famous and the one that has caused so many great snooker players to get an attack of the nerves once they get in there. The championship table's set, everybody waiting, and I think we're in for a lovely session of snooker, and we'll be with it right from the start to the time when either Steve Davis or Doug Mountjoy becomes champion of the world and becomes just the 10th champion in the history of this whole event. And in fact, just behind me around there, the players are just still in their dressing rooms. I'm quite sure they're having a last word with somebody. Steve Davis, if he could, I'm sure, will be having a last word on the Space Invaders, but he hasn't got one here in the dressing rooms, I can tell you. And I think Ken Smith, the liaison officer, should be bringing the players out any second now. Yes, Steve Davis just coming out there. And Steve, welcome.
Hello.
Good luck tonight. How are you feeling at the moment?
Thank you. Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Little bit of pressure on now or not?
Well, it's just another game of snooker, hopefully.
Just another game of snooker. And behind, Doug Mountjoy. Doug, good luck for tonight's session.
I'll need it. I thought after the first session I'll need a miracle, but managed to claw back. Yeah.
I shouldn't think you ever thought you'd be reaching this stage after being 6-0 down, did you?
Well, he played so well. You know, I didn't have any answer to what he was doing, but 14-12, I'm in there with a shout.
Well, you certainly found some answers, and can I say, let's hope you find some answers tonight. But basically, to both of you gentlemen, have a wonderful final, and best of luck to both of you. And I won't hold you any longer, because outside I know that the tournament MC, Bruce Donkin, is waiting to introduce you both. It's a pretty packed house, so if you're feeling fine, let Bruce Donkin bring you in. Good luck to both of you.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, the final session of the Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship. 23 years of age, seeded number 13, winner of Jimmy White, Alex Higgins, Terry Griffiths, Cliff Fulton, the United Kingdom Professional Snooker Champion, holder of the Worsing Classic title, the Yamaha Alden Trophy winner in March of this year, the English Professional Snooker Champion from Romford, Steve Davis. And his opponent, 38 years of age, seeded number 14 in this competition. First round winner over Willie Thorne, then Eddie Charlton, Dennis Taylor, Ray Reardon, World Amateur Champion 1976, Masters Champion 1977, 1978 United Kingdom Professional Champion, 1978 Pot Black Champion, 1980 Welsh Professional Champion, and in 1980 also he won the Champion of Champions contest at New London Theatre, and this week, as you've heard already, the world record holder for championship play with 145, Doug Mountjoy. And in charge of this final session, as indeed he has been throughout the whole of the final round, the senior tournament referee from Wrexham, John Williams. Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy yourself. Thank you.
So the trophy and the cheque for £20,000 awaits either Steve Davis from Romford or Doug Mountjoy from Wales, and I must say he's looking pretty happy. That famous trophy, and tonight on that will go just the name of the 10th champion, and what names that has on it already. So who will it be? John Williams to toss. It'll be Steve Davis to break. And the commentators on the opening frame will be Jack Carnham and John Spencer. You'll be hearing comments on special shots during the frames from the 1979 finalist Dennis Taylor. Here we go.
Well, what a start.
Doug Mountjoy.
Off the pack, straight into the pocket. 4 away, foul shot.
One. Six. Doug Mountjoy, 6.
Well, he's left rather an easy red for Steve Davis to get started here.
One.
Yes, and it's a very important part of the whole match, this, Jack. Both players obviously feeling the tension, and of course the first one that can string a few balls together and get the rhythm going puts them in a very good position.
Fine. Six.
Well, Steve is looking at the open red to the left of the pack. And there is also one just below the pack.
Nine.
And just a little twix in between there. Neither ball on.
Steve Davis, 9.
And incredibly, Doug Mountjoy has again left a very simple start for Steve Davis.
One.
Well, I think Steve played to get on the blue there, but got tremendous power.
Yes, Jack, I think Steve put a lot of screw on that ball to get down for one of the ball colours or the blue, rather than play this black up the cush. I think it was a wise decision. He wants to get a few easy shots in before he starts playing to build a break.
Four.
And now I think we'll see him just pot this blue, screw back a couple of inches for the red left of the pink. And this is an important shot, Jack, because he's going to, when he pots this, he'll disturb the other reds and probably run through for the black.
Ten. $17. $18. $23.
Well, nice even red here for the blue. No problem.
24.
I think he'll take the pink now. He's just the wrong side of the blue.
$30. $31. $38. $39. $46. 47.
Very good break, this Jack. Just wants this black and one more red to leave Doug leading snookers.
$54. $55.
Well, with just 51 points on the table now, Doug requires snookers, and there seems no answer to this young man from preventing him from winning the opening frame.
$62. $68.
And a kick on that ball.
69.
He meant to be much closer to the black than that.
$76. $77.
Terrific amount of side on that cue ball there.
82.
So break of 82. 27 on the table.
$84.
And he snookered himself.
Foul, Steve Davis, 4. Three. Steve Davis, 3. 4. Nine. 15.
Well, as Mountjoy pots the black, it's first frame to Steve Davis. And the pattern continues. 15-12.
Well, the match-winning shot here for me was, at this point, he just potted the blue, left himself on the red, potted a terrific red here, opening 3 or 4 reds out of the pack, and finished nicely on the black. And that, for me, was the match-winning shot for Steve.
Well, as hard as Doug Mountjoy tries, he doesn't seem to be able to break this young man down in the openings of every session they've played. And Steve has come through to win the first, and so often the second frame,
28th frame.
to take this early lead, giving himself a cushion all the way through the match of 1 or 2 frames. Well, he's just a little over strength there, makes queuing slightly difficult.
Doug Mountjoy, 8.
Well, that was a reasonably safe shot to play. He was nicely on the black there, had he got it.
I think he's given Doug a chance of a red here into the right-hand corner pocket and stunned the white round the angles down onto the black.
Well, just 8 more frames to go in this 35 frames. First one to 18. And Doug cannot afford to lose any more points. And that's a pretty good shot by Steve there. He's making it very difficult indeed to return to balk here. That's the mistake Doug keeps making, but one must be fair and say that he's being forced into these mistakes by some very good safety play.
One. Six.
Very good shot that, Jack. He had to play that blue with a lot of right-hand side to bring it back between the yellow and brown. Perfect for the red into the middle and the blue into the opposite centre pocket.
Twelve. $16. $17.
This is a very important shot, Jack. He's got to play this blue, try and get between the green and brown with a lot of side on to bring the white back up to the reds here, because if he gets on an easy red here, I think he could be in for a nice break.
28. 29. 36. 37.
And again, Steve Davis has put himself in a position of making a frame-winning break here.
$44. 45.
Yes, Jack, a tremendous break this. Playing with so much confidence here, Steve. And here we have the same shot again, Jack, where when he pots this bottom red here, he'll open all the others up.
53.
'And again, Jack,
60.
one red and one black will leave Doug wanting snookers.
61.
'Well, this really is poetry in motion.
68.
So easy, yet so terribly difficult.
69. 76. 77.
'And prepared to take on any ball that offers the correct angle. No fear of missing the pot. Supreme confidence.
81. 82.
And that is the second 80 consecutive breaks, the opening frames.
Yes, Jack, he's playing with so much
88.
confidence. I just can't see him missing in this frame. I think he'll take the lot here. A tremendous performance. And when you think his first shot of this session,
89.
he went in off the pack, tremendous performance.
.92. Delicate little stun screw here.
94.
Yes, Jack, I don't think there's any danger. I don't think he can possibly miss one of these, the way he's playing.
97.
'Perfect angle on the blue, just enough to permit very smooth blue.
106.
106. and a possible 119 on the table.
112.
And down goes the black for 16 frames to 12 and a magnificent century break. Just beautiful snooker.
Well, Doug doesn't know what's hit him here. He's had a go at a long red, decided to commit himself. He's played the shot, as you can see the white come up the table, missed the red, not only missed the red, but got a double kiss on the white. That's the only mistake Doug has made in this frame. Steve's gone on and made a fantastic 119 break.
And what must Doug be feeling? I shouldn't think he needs to reproach himself at all, because how can you cope with a young man who just merely keeps you off the table by potting every ball? And Steve must be a very happy young man, really coming to the peak at the supreme moment.
29th frame, Steve Davis to break.
So frame 29. Well, it almost becomes an occasion when this young man has to stop and consider what he's going to play. Such is the confidence of this young man. And Eddie Charlton, you must have something to say, surely.
Yes, it's tremendous snooker. We've not seen Doug at the table as yet. He's been held off in the opening two frames once again. It seems to be the story each session, and he wanted a good start and didn't get it, so now he's really against it.
Steve Davis, 1.
good shot he's played there. Well, he's slipped up there trying to remove the red from a potable position. He's given Doug a chance here.
One. Five.
And that's a very good shot. He tried to get straight on that red, but was forced to play a deep screw. Played it very well.
Well. $13. $17.
Well, I think he'll try to get underneath the black here if possible. Perfect. Lovely position,
Mountjoy.
but missed the pot.
17. One. Steve Davis, 1.
It's a bad shot from Doug there. He should have been right up behind the black. He has no pressure on Steve Davis from this position.
Well, care needed here. Well, just a little too thick on the red there, trying to get behind the green.
Foul, the Mountjoy, 4.
Well, a chance here for Doug if he can pot this red and get round the back of the pack. How well, Eddie, this young man plays with the rest. He never seems to miss with it.
Yes, he's very reliable with the rest. He's in a good position here too to get back among the reds. He could take the green, he could take the pink. One good pot here and he's right back into business.
He's too good.
Well. Steve Davis, 12.
And he seems to have played that almost perfect pace.
Yes, it's a snooker on all the reds. I think the only thing Doug can do here is come off the side cushion and lay right on the red that's on the top cushion. Element of risk to that shot as well, because the black is now on its spot and it's open. If he doesn't lay right on the red, he could possibly leave it on, and the way the balls are, Steve would be in again with quite a substantial looking break open to him. So once again, Doug finds himself with real problems.
Foul. Steve Davis, 4.
Well, Davis not getting out of his seat. I wonder if he's going to ask Doug to play again. And too thin on the contact. Well, there's a possible chance here. Right-hand corner pocket.
It's a beautiful snooker, and what Doug needs here is a mistake from Steve to try and do some scoring. Now, what will we see Doug here? Both the reds along the cushion are reasonably difficult shots. Might have a little safety in mind here as well. He went all out for the pot and knew he could play the little cannon to be on the black, but now must pay the penalty of the leave.
Well, I think that shot that Doug has just missed could well put the seal on this championship.
Ace. 9.
Well, I think he's looking at the plant here.
$17.
So Steve Davis now 20 points the lead, and getting very near the vital stage where there will be no looking back for Mountjoy. He'll have to win everything in front of him.
$30. 31. 37. 38.
And how strange that this young man who's suddenly forged himself into the head of the game should have such a famous name as Davis. And
44.
just pulled in on the nap of the clock. So 41 points the lead. And 43 on the table. So this is a desperate situation for Doug Mountjoy.
Doug requiring 2 blacks with these 2 reds and all the colours to win the frame, and he's laid a snooker, but he's had to do himself a disservice there in as much as both reds are at the far end of the table now from the black, and he has a real task ahead of him to win this frame.
Doug badly needs this black. Good shot.
Perfect position on the black to get to the yellow.
Yeah, and I think this will be the end of the frame. And he's conceded the frame.
I think Doug here should have elected for the safety shot. He was under a lot of pressure here. He hadn't been to the table. He had to go with this difficult red to stop on the black. He's concentrating on the cannon onto the other red, which he's managed to get. But as you see, he's missed the red. He's left Steve in for a 44 break, put himself under a lot of pressure, and he's lost the frame from that point.
So here in the Crucible Theatre, Steve Davis now at 17 frames to 12, needing one more to become the 10th name on the championship roll, following the famous names of Joe and Fred Davis, of John Pullman, of John Spencer, Ray Reardon, Alex Higgins, Terry Griffiths, Cliff Thorburn, and now moving into the commentary box for this very vital frame will be Ted Lowe and John Pullman.
30th frame.
Steve Davis sits there, waiting for the most important frame of his young career. There is just no stopping him.
4. Steve Davis, 4.
Doug Mountjoy, who has put up a terrific battle, starting by losing the first 6 frames and now requires 6 to get the magic frame figure of 18. Disappointed men.
Mountjoy, 4.
Steve Davis immediately walked away from the table, knowing full well he was running into the center pocket and conceding 4 points.
Well, Doug quite understandably lost a bit of his potting ability. He's been completely frozen out in this last session. Hasn't had much opportunity to pot balls. And of course, young Steve still requiring that last frame to clinch the match. Always the most difficult one of the match to win.
Dear, oh dear. Doug almost demoralized. Wondering how he can stop the onslaught of this young man. Starting this final session, Davis with 84 and then 119.
Davis, 7.
And suddenly the nerves come into play. The tension of this final catching up, perhaps just slightly.
One. Six.
All square. That is points in this frame.
he can successfully punt this blue and get into the pack of reds, we may prolong this match a little. And it didn't work out at all in his favour. Had a difficult cutback, this.
18. With Mountjoy, 18.
Mountjoy 11 points in front.
One. Six.
Steve Davis has recorded 3 snooker centuries on his way and during this final. 2 of them 119.
7.
Mountjoy also has recorded 3 centuries, and amongst those, the new world record.
Now Steve, of course, attempting to go
13.
into the pack with that pink. Failed to make contact.
Steve Davis, 13.
Just 2 points in it.
One.
Well, that was a terrific blue from Doug there. Cue ball right round the table. He hadn't got a lot of angle, but he achieved that very well.
Seven.
And I think there's just room for that black to be spotted.
14.
Mountjoy 12 points ahead.
And Steve will have to be a bit careful here. Have to just drop onto this. There are only 3 reds there, and they will split up quite easily. That looks safe.
The Crucible Theatre totally absorbed now in this particular frame. oohs and ahs there around the audience, but the red is over the top pocket for Doug Mountjoy. And here, surely, Doug Mountjoy sees his mistake.
One. Eight. Nine.
Steve Davis goes to the front.
16.
Just one red left now.
And Steve with just the right angle here to bring the cue ball back to right side of the table for the red.
Watching the title drift away.
Now, just the yellow and green
29.
will mean that Doug Mountjoy can then only draw with the last four colours.
31.
He's 19 points ahead before this green. There's now 22 points on the table, and as you see, this difference in the scores, 22 points. Can he slam this blue into the top pocket? He's breathing heavily as he comes down to this final pink. And that's it. The world snooker champion, 1981, Steve Davis. Congratulations there to the Embassy World Champion Steve Davis from his manager Barry Hearn. His friends, of course, climbing around. Barry Hearn's wife gives him a big hug and a kiss. The young man, just 23 years of age, coming from Plumstead, London, is now, I believe, crying with joy on taking this title. The burden he's carried from before the championships here at Sheffield, made odds-on favourites, and has carried the banner right the way through. A terrific performance. He has been faultless and most consistent in every shot he has played over the most difficult of matches. He has now overcome Doug Mountjoy in the final and become the Embassy World Champion 1981.
Steve Davis, snooker champion of the world. Do you want me to say it again, or has it sunk in yet?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You've got all night, don't worry.
Yeah, I know.
Did you really believe it could happen like it's happened here in this final session?
No. No, I thought that Doug was keeping with me all the way, and I thought it was going to be a battle all the way to the end, and Doug, I went 6-0 up, and I thought, right, I should win now easily. And all of a sudden, he keeps on potting balls, and he kept 3 frames behind all the time, which was a lot better than 6 frames behind. And then it went 2 frames behind at the interval, every time. He's sick as a pig, because I could have been 4 frames.
I think you got your supporters worried for once. You kept them quiet.
Yeah. No, we told them to keep quiet, because as quiet as possible. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what to say.
But then, I mean, the point when Doug's really sort of gets going, when he got a break of 1-2-9, you must have thought, oh my goodness, here he goes.
Yeah, and he came over and asked me in matches as well. It made it even worse.
Anyway, just stay there a minute, Steve, because I know everybody here has responded to the magnificent fight and the play of Doug Mountjoy. Doug, say that again.
I got friends.
I tell you what, you've got a lot of friends, not just here in the Crucible, for the millions who've been watching this on television. It was a marvellous fight, and obviously a very disappointed man. Was it really the start of it all, when you really couldn't get going, that put you right off?
Well, it wasn't the fact that I couldn't get going. It's Steve started off so well. I just couldn't hold him, you know. I don't think anyone in the world could have held him those 6 frames. And I was lucky to come away 6-3. And never got the lead, never looked like getting the lead. I was just sort of hanging on in there, you know. And this evening, he just played too well.
You really had to come out tonight and get one pretty quickly, hadn't you?
Really, to have a chance, I needed to win the first, but I haven't won the first for the 4 sessions we've had, so I didn't fancy my chances.
Anyway, Doug, marvellous fight, and can I now, in fact, ask the presentation party to come out onto the stage, and the presentation, first of all, to Doug Mountjoy. First of all, to Doug Mountjoy, and I hope they got a big fan here, Mr. Christopher Corey, Managing Director of the sponsors, WD Nature Wills, accompanied by Mr. Peter Dyke, head of the sponsor events department. The cheque to Doug Mountjoy is runner-up of £10,000, plus 1,200 for the highest break, plus 5,000 for breaking the all-time World Championship high break record. £16,200 to Doug Mountjoy. And if Steve Davis can stop signing autographs for just 1 minute, we've got some for you. To Steve Davis, the cheque for the winner, the 1981 Embassy World Professional Snooker Champion, £20,000 and the most famous trophy in the game. Steve Davis. Yes, Steve Davis would in fact like to say something. I wonder if he's got any breath, but if you could put the trophy, the microphone's yours.
I've been planning this for a year. It's not going to go right now, I can assure you. First of all, I'd just like to say commiserations to Doug, because without another fantastic player in the final, there's no final. So I know he must be very, very disappointed, because I think I would have been as well. So once again, could you put your hands together for Doug? I'd like to thank lots of people, and I don't know if I'll get them in the right order. I'd like to thank Embassy, and unfortunately I don't smoke, but I think I nearly did start this week. I'd also like to thank Mike Watterson of Snooker Sport Promotions, and also, of course, Paul Hatherall for doing another terrific job. Also like to thank all the referees who've done a fantastic job as well. I think they do so much work that nobody gives them credit for. I'd like to thank Ken Smith, who you probably don't know, but I think he gets a mention every year. Ken over there. He does so much work behind the scenes for us all. Just unbelievable guy. Thanks very much, Ken. I'd like to thank all the people from Romford and from Plumstead Working Men's Club and everybody else all over the place who's wished me well and has sent me letters. Thank you very much. But most of all, I'd like to thank my mum and my dad and Barry and Susan. And also I'd like to thank once again the BBC for doing fantastic coverage. I didn't see too much of it, although sometimes when you can't go to bed at night, you watch the ending of it. I'd also like to thank Coles for running a book, because because we've won a few quid. And also, of course, to Riley's, who put in the tables, because they're fantastic tables, and I don't think anybody can touch them at the moment. And if anybody else I've left out, I apologise profusely. Thank you very much.
Well, there he is, the 1981 World Professional Snooker Champion, watching the end of that match, the whole of this evening's session live here. I've just rushed back into our studio. In fact, where it's all happening is just outside there. We rushed back in here to see those closing scenes, and in fact to rejoin Dennis Taylor here, who've heard commentating and providing expert opinion on some of the shots during those last frames. Dennis, I think for the people who say Steve Davis is just the ice-cool robot, I think that proves something rather different there.
Well, he has had this reputation cast on him as Steve. He's a very cool player, but he's a very emotional person as well, as we have seen. But he manages to hide it very well on the snooker table.
Isn't this one of the secrets of his success? Because people go out there, they all talk about looking for this weakness. And against, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. And against a lot of other opponents, you make a mistake and get away with it. You make a mistake at this fella, and he pounces at you, doesn't he?
Well, that's right. I mean, Doug has come out tonight. Obviously, he got himself psyched up. He got back to within 2 frames. I'd just like to know what Steve does at the interval, just to get himself right, because he comes back again. He was shaking a little bit today. He was shaking his head on a few occasions. But here we have him coming back tonight, going in and knocking in. Doug, he was only making 1 mistake and was losing the frame. In a World Championship final, that's tremendous to play like that under such pressure.
How important do you think that opening frame of the whole final was? Because Doug went out there, knew he was the underdog. In fact, he admitted it here the night before, which was rather surprising. Knew he was the underdog, gets off with a lovely break of 40 and thinks this must be it. Steve hadn't scored a point, and suddenly Davis comes at him and wins the frame. I mean, that shattered him, didn't it?
That's right. I think everybody tends to think this when they're playing against Steve. You want to get the first frame in. It's a very important frame, because if Steve gets 1 or 2 games in front, he's a devastating player. More so when you keep level with him. I mean, I did play him in '79 in the championships, and I always managed to stay 1 frame or 2 frames ahead. Obviously, he's gained a lot of experience since then.
From that game, probably.
Well, hopefully. And this is it. You've got to keep level or get a frame in front of him and keep him under a bit of pressure. But he proved against Cliff Thorburn that even under the pressure, he still plays tremendous.
See, Doug had to overcome so many problems. I mean, even today, I mean, he made that marvellous comeback from being 6-0 down. In fact, at one stage, he won 5 out of 7 frames. He had a break of 1-2-9, all running for him. Then I think this afternoon we had a real crunch frame. It was, in fact, let's take a look at it, frame 25 of the match.